roaches in them, going to try to drop them down and take out some base. And it looks like, meanwhile, there are some Hellions going into the gold base once again, but there are spine crawlers and roaches there to deflect that. It is not going to do any more damage. And here come the roaches for CatZ. He is going to try to do some more damage. No, he's going to back out. I'm not sure why he backed out. Maybe he was anticipating the units coming back here to defend against it. But nonetheless, he is going to pull those roaches out, only losing 2 roaches, it looks like, in that attack. So whatever was over there managed to take out 2 of his roaches, getting the infestation pit up. So we may see some hive tech here shortly, or no, actually he's just getting some infestors. So not going to be going for the hive tech right away. And if we look at the production menu again, we can see that there are still a decent number of roaches being generated. He is pretty much with an all roach and infestor army at this point, getting the range 1 upgrade right now, building some more roaches, getting a couple more lings out there for scouting the map, and meanwhile putting down a 4th base. So the Terran catching up with a 3rd base over here in a minute is really not even going to catch him up. That's just going to barely keep him behind, because he is going to need to either take a base out or do some serious damage here pretty quickly. And it looks like we are seeing a move from the Terran. He is going to bring out all of his siege tanks, Hellions, and his 1 Thor to back up all these siege tanks. And they're going to come up and siege up, try to take down this gold expansion. Now, let me point something out here real quick to you, is that this high ground right here, if you've never seen this done, if Terran gets siege tanks up there, they can shell almost this entire mineral line from that spot, and it is very difficult to defend against if they've got a very solidly fortified position. Apparently the Terran player not wanting to get siege tanks on the high ground, they just got a Hellion up there to use that Zelnaga watchtower, so he has the vision. As you can see, he can see this whole expansion here, and the Zerg player has had to evacuate all of his drones, but it looks like we're going to see a massive drop. All of these overlords absolutely filled with roaches, and there is nothing in this Terran player's base right now. He has 1 Thor that is moving out, but all of the siege tanks are already sieging up that high yield base, and it looks like the Roach is going to take down some supply depots, moving the rest of his roaches and these overlords out to this natural base here so that he can take out some of the SCVs. And it looks like the Terran player has decided to retreat back to his base to defend. Meanwhile, he has taken the high yield base out in the middle of the map, and he is going to clean up this high yield base for the Zerg player. So a ton going on in the map right now. CatZ managing to get on this main base, and he's going to take out the armory, it looks like, going to take out all the miners at this expansion here, and a great fungal growth on these SCVs, although it looks like all of the roaches have been taken out. So he basically only has some infestors in here. He really needs to get those out of here. Those are expensive units to just throw away. And it looks like these roaches are going to clean up a few of the siege tanks, but the siege tanks and Thor is more than strong enough to take out the rest of those roaches. And I really think at this point our Zerg player needs to switch up his tactics, because this all roach and infestor army, the Terran player seems to have his number for. All those siege tanks and Thors are just having no problem cleaning up that army now that he has solidified himself on the map. Although he did lose a decent chunk of buildings in his base, he lost primarily supply depots and it looks like a command center. There are a few roaches still burrowed here, so they are going to be aware of what's going on inside the Terran base and when the Terran player moves out. And speaking of which, here comes a Terran push right now. He's going to, actually no, he's just going to move up here and take a little bit of a defensive stance while he tries to get this gold base up and running. And if we look at the income tab once again, we can see that the Terran player is still behind. He lost a lot of harvesters in that tag. There's actually 44 harvesters more for CatZ right now, and taking yet another expansion, getting himself back up at the high yield base in the middle. So there are a lot of Zerg bases on this map. Now, one thing I will say is that I wish that CatZ would be more aggressive about expanding his creep. We've seen a lot more Zerg players start to go for that aggressive creep expansion, and that is just something that is absolutely necessary for keeping a mobile army, especially with these roaches. Even with the speed upgrade, they're not super fast, but you can see when they get on that creep just how fast they can book it. So getting those extra creep tumors out on the map, really expanding your creep, gives your army a lot more mobility. And in addition to that, it also gives you a ton of scouting, because you get vision for every one of those creep tumors. So you have a ton of vision on the map as far as what's going on. And it looks like the Terran player once again going to be moving his units to the middle of the map. Not sure if he's going to get aggressive here or if he's just moving into defense position. It looks like he is going to try to defend. There's another large Zerg push coming here, and it looks like he's getting a neural parasite down on one of these siege tanks and one of these Thors. A lot of damage going down from these siege tanks right now, most of them being taken out here on the low ground, but there are still some siege tanks on the high ground along with that planetary fortress. A decent amount of roaches going to make it through that army, but there are more siege tanks back at the main base to defend against this, and it looks like once again our Terran player manages to hang on. Just for some reason, our Zerg player is absolutely refusing to switch up his tech pattern from Roaches, Zerglings, and Infestors, and he is just going straight with that army, and the Terran player has absolutely everything he needs to deal with it. If we look on the production menu here too, we can see that he is finally getting a Spire though, so possibly going to see some Mutalisks right now. I am excited to see if he gets some of that on the map, because this strategy, I gotta say, is getting just a little bit stale. Although here comes Terran looking like he wants to counter push possibly, but I don't think he's going to be able to keep this force strong enough with the reinforcements to be able to really do anything beyond this high yield based push here, which it looks like is going to go down relatively quickly. But there is just a ton of Roaches and Mutas being built right now. So actually, I'm sorry, just Mutas right now. No more Roaches being built currently. Although I'm sure he has some out on the map right now. If we take a look at the units overlay, yeah, he does have 7 Roaches, although it looks like he's dropping some Zerglings or Roaches right now for an attack at the main base, and even an Infestor here. So going to do some damage to these, and it looks like these Blue Flame Hellions probably aren't going to have a whole lot of trouble cleaning that up. Yeah, they just take that stuff out super quick. And here come the Hellions. Oh no, he saves the Infestor. I'm sorry, I thought he was going to get that straight away. Barely any HP left. And 1 missile turret possibly going to go down here. Oh, and here comes the Mutalisk here. Now that there is no Thors in the army for Terran, he is in a lot of trouble. There are a few turrets spread out across the map, but tanks do not do very well against Mutalisks, obviously. So that is a bad situation for our Terran player to be in. He does have his Planetary Fortress up, putting down some turrets at his main, and he just realizes, oh crap, I forgot to rebuild my armory after the Zerg player killed it last time. So throwing down an armory at his natural as well, or rather at the high yield base, and he is going to need to keep this 1 turret alive if he wants to hold this off. Although no, it looks like the Zerg player is going to back out, and he has not yet spotted this expansion up in the top left here. Going to continue harassment with these Mutalisks, and another siege tank going to go down, it looks like. Yep, he manages to take that one down. There are a couple of turrets up at this natural base here, and it looks like the Zerg player is going to have to defend against the Hellion push, although there are some spine crawlers all around each one of these bases, so I don't imagine he'll have too many problems here. And these Hellions being neglected just a little bit here, it looks, and he manages to lose about 3 of them. Meanwhile, the Zerg player continuing to pressure with these Mutalisks. And if we take a look at the units overlay here, we can see that the Zerg player has a ton of units overall. 12 Mutalisks, 9 Roaches, 8 Infestors, I'm sorry, 8 Corruptors, 2 Infestors, and 4 Queens, and 3 Zerglings to cap that off. So just a little bit of everything right now from our Zerg player, although it doesn't look like he's going to need all that, as he has a commanding position on the map right now. He has taken yet another base up at the top here, and he's not even fully mining in all of them. He does have almost 70 drones at this point, so a huge amount of his population now consisting of drones. And here come the Broodlords. This is the true threat to the Terran player, since he does not even have a starport. Viking's really the best option to deal with these Broodlords, and with Vikings out of the equation, his only options to deal with it are really going to be Marines or turrets, although unfortunately Broodlords outrange turrets, so that's not really a very good option. But here come the Broodlords just taking out a ton of SCVs at this base here, and it looks like he is going to be able to force him to back out. And even Thor's not very good against these Broodlords. They are armored units despite being in the air, so they are very, very strong, difficult to take down. And yeah, the Thor's anti-air only really does well against light units such as the Mutalisk when they're clumped up together, because it does do a little bit of splash damage. A couple more Broodlords coming in right now, and there are 4 Corruptors. So it looks like this is probably going to be GG for our Terran player. Here come the Mutalisks helping take out some of these turrets, and the Planetary Fortress is going to go down. A pack of Zerglings running around the map, making sure there aren't expansions, bases that he does not know about. And here's some more Zerg Overlords and an Infestor going to keep an eye on this Planetary Fortress from our Terran player. And at this point, I hate calling it early. Yep, there it is. Okay, I did not call it early. GG, the Terran player calls it, waves the white flag, and surrenders the game to our Zerg player. So anyways, thanks for watching, guys. I apologize for not having a Wacky Wednesday for you this week, but unfortunately, I didn't have any replays to even cast. So, like I mentioned, next week, if you guys are interested in participating in the Wacky Wednesday, I want to see some rushes based on nuke play, or I'm sorry, based on ghost play. So whether you're going for a fast nuke, or just using ghosts with snipe, or ghosts with EMP, or something crazy like that, just rush ghosts, do something unique with them, and then send the replays to achaya.scbg@gmail.com. That's ACHAIA.scbg@gmail.com. And I will be happy to look at all the replays that you guys send in, and hopefully we can get some replays for next week. Like I said, if you guys have any comments as to whether you dislike or like the Wacky Wednesday, feel free to leave those in this particular video's comments section, because I'm interested to see, are we not getting replays because people just don't like the series, or are we not getting replays because people just aren't submitting them for whatever reason, whether they're too timid or whatever. So feel free to leave your opinions, your comments down below. And if you like the videos, of course, click like, click subscribe, and leave your comments. And also, I did want to mention, I'm going to start being a little bit better about this. I do have a Facebook page and a Twitter page. So if you guys want to keep up to date on what's going on with me and even what's going on in the StarCraft 2 world, I'm trying to keep it updated with information from the GSL as well as other StarCraft 2 news that seems important. And of course, in addition to that, all the videos that I'm going to be uploading. So if you guys want to keep up with me in that regard, definitely subscribe. I have links to that stuff in my channel. So if you go to my channel, you can see it on the left-hand side there down at the bottom. And thanks for watching again. GG.